Good afternoon and welcome into the Parents Program radio broadcast. I am Daryl DeLuca, Assistant Dean of Students, and we're broadcasting to you live from the Boston University Charles River campus on a very frigid, cold day in April, which is also known as Opening Day in Boston. About 2 football fields from where we're sitting, Fenway Park is alive and buzzing on Opening Day, America's most beloved ballpark. I'm here with my colleague and friend, Christy Loring, who will introduce our guest.
Thank you, Daryl. We can attest we've already heard the flyover, so we know the game is in full swing.
The first pitch is out there.
Yes, indeed. We don't know the score, but we know it's in full swing. So we are here to welcome the class of 2022, and we are talking all things Boston University, particularly trying to answer that question for parents of prospective BU students, what is next? There are so many things for you to think about. And to do that, we have a colleague, a friend, and a current student, Kenneth Giron. Kenneth. And Kenneth, tell us about where you're from and what school you're currently enrolled in here at Boston University.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to have
I am
you.
from Brooklyn, New York, and I'm currently in Sargent College of Health and Rehabilitation Sciences, studying human physiology. I'm a sophomore, so I'm second year, and yeah, I'm currently on the pre-med track.
Oh, good for
Yes.
you.
Currently, we'll see about that.
And you also work in the Dean of
I
Students
do work
office.
in the Dean of
Yes.
Students office. I work in the George Sherman Union on the second floor in the operations office.
Wonderful. So can you remember back to that day you had an acceptance from Boston University?
I can. I remember I was at home and I got the email. I got the email from BU. I was like, this is interesting. You know, I started to get all nervous, the butterflies in the stomach. And I opened it up and I see
Because
that.
the email doesn't tell you whether you're accepted. It tells
Right,
you to
it tells
go
you
to
to
your
go.
account.
Yep, it tells you to go online and see your letter. I open up the letter and I see that I was accepted, and I was there with my family. I let them know. We were all very, very happy. I was very excited about my acceptance to BU because I had never been to Boston, so I think it was definitely that was definitely a huge factor. Being in a going to a big city and thinking about possibly going to a big city like New York and not being in the middle of the woods, you know,
Sure.
where there's no one really around. So I was definitely very excited that day that I got the acceptance.
So you're telling me, Kenneth, that you applied to Boston University, admitted to Boston University, and you had never been to Boston.
Correct?
God bless you.
Wow.
It's probably not too unfamiliar scenario out there for people that apply to Boston
I
University
think
from all
that's
over the
true,
country.
Daryl.
So, do you remember the next step? What you had to do? What you were concerned about? Was it orientation? Was it coming to visit the campus? Was it before you were formally putting down your enrollment deposit?
So I actually came to visit the school in April during Multicultural Weekend,
Great.
which was a lot of fun.
Which is actually going on right now.
Yes, it is. I'm actually hosting a student this
Ah,
weekend.
that's wonderful.
So I will be showing him the ropes, bringing him under my wing.
That's great. So actually that's a perfect segue to tell us about how what you learned and how you will in turn show that incoming student the ropes.
So it was definitely, I think, the biggest thing that I noticed when I came to BU was how big the school was, how big the campus was. But the way that Multicultural Weekend was set up, they did a really good job of making a community within the students that were already here to show that, while it is a very big school, it's very, very easy to find people like you, similar to you, whether it be, where you're from, your background, or just your interest. So that was very well done here, and it was nice to find that community when I first got here right away, right off the bat, and it made me very comfortable and very, very confident that I was making the right decision in being invited to BU and deciding to come here.
That sounds like could have been a determining factor for your decision.
100%.
Right? No doubt you probably were admitted to other schools and you had other options and choices.
Correct.
I won't ask where, but you ended up coming to BU. So those kind of factors of visiting a campus, attending Multicultural Weekend, attending an admitted student open house, or coming on your own and wandering around,
Right.
sort of getting that feeling that you are reassured that, yes, I can do this.
That definitely was the feeling that I had when I came from Multicultural Weekend. It was great.
And
And I
you will
actually-
be able to instill that same confidence in this incoming student.
I
that's
hope so.
coming.
I hope so. When I actually still talk to a lot of friends that I made at Multicultural Weekend, and I know that this weekend I'm planning with me and my friends on helping them build their own community. So we're definitely going to be getting together, making sure that they hang out, get to know each other, so that they can feel like they belong, like they have friends. So that way they're not worried when they come for orientation or when they start in the fall that they're like, oh, I don't know anybody. You know, you have your friends from Multicultural Weekend.
So important, so important.
Yes.
Do you recall your experiences with orientation, or did you come for that?
I did. I came for orientation. I came session 3, I believe. And I have a friend who was also admitted to BU, and he wanted to come to orientation with me, but I said no because I wanted to come and make my own friends. I'm a little quiet at first, so I wanted to branch out by myself. And it definitely, orientation was great, a great experience. My student advisor for Sergeant definitely did a good job of, helping me open up, helping me to get to know the new students. He was very good at making us realize that we were all in the same boat. Everybody's in the same spot. We're like, oh, you're coming to this big school. I'm nervous. Am I gonna meet new people? Everybody is nervous. Everybody is in this, the same position, and they did a really good job of making me feel comfortable, getting to know everybody. I myself am going to be a student advisor this summer for orientation.
Congratulations, fantastic.
So I'm very excited about that. And some of the people who were in my orientation group, I actually work with in the Dean of Students now, and will also be working with me orientation. So it was great connection to meet a lot of great people. It was a lot of fun. Highly recommend.
You mentioned it a couple times that Boston University, one of the things you were concerned about was the size of it. It's a new city, it's a new landscape, it's a new large campus. As you sit here today finishing up your 4th semester at BU,
correct,
do you think Boston University is sort of overwhelming and large now?
No.
Talk about that.
I don't.
I knew the answer to that.
It's interesting because I come from New York City, which is bigger
ginormous.
than Boston.
Right.
Ginormous. So I was used to it, but being that I had never been to Boston, it was a little scary because I was like, I wasn't sure. But I really have found my community here at BU, which is actually most specifically the Howard Thurman Center here in the George Sherman Union. And it's great. You just find your friends, you find people who are like you, you naturally click. It's not something that should be forced, just come in and be yourself. I know that sounds a little cliche, but that's really the key, and that the grand scheme of things, like, that'll all go away, because then you will eventually find your spot here, and you'll just see how not small, but you'll see that it's not a big and scary place. It's definitely somewhere where you can be comfortable, where you can find your family, your home. It's great.
You mentioned the Howard Thurman Center, and that is so vital. Can you say a few words about the Howard Thurman Center and how that impacted you in terms of finding your niche and your family?
Yes, it's a culture center on campus, and it's a place where students go to find common ground. So like going back to how big Boston is, how big the university is, the Howard Thurman Center really helps kids find a safe spot on campus to talk about anything that's going on, whether it be from the Red Sox game to some political business that's going on. It's really we have great programs in the Howard Thurman Center. Coffee and Conversation is a huge one. Every Friday from 3 to 5, there's cookies, there's tea, there's coffee, and there's
Hot topics.
Hot topics. And it's a great spot to just speak your mind. You're not going to get judged. Everybody's open. And then even if you're not going to the events that they have, you could just go downstairs and hang out. Do your homework. Just meet new people. Everybody there is friendly. Don't be afraid to introduce yourself to everybody. The staff is great. The student staff is great. And that really helped me open up and meet new people. And I don't regret it. I definitely love the people I've met down there.
The HTC to me always seems as a safe and comfortable place. It reminds me almost as if I was walking into someone's living room.
Right, it definitely is.
You can physically be comfortable. There are board games, there's coffee and tea and cookies, as you mentioned, but also the people who are there are warm and welcoming, whether that be fellow students or staff members or both.
Right.
It is one of my favorite places on campus too. So I'm glad to know that was part of your community building here at Boston University.
Definitely great.
So Kenneth, we are still in the first week of April, and a lot of parents are tuning in on behalf of their sons and daughters about enrollment deposits and putting that deposit down at a place where their son or daughter is going to attend. You did that at a certain time, but for those folks that are still undecided or listening in, what would be your advice to them, or what would be your encouragement to them in terms of how to make that decision?
Sure. So like I said before, my biggest factor was determining factor was coming to visit the campus. Really getting to know that firsthand experience, seeing what it's like to be in Boston, not only in Boston but also on the campus. It's not really your typical college campus, which might throw a lot of people off. Nonetheless, it's great. But I think being here firsthand and seeing what it's like, seeing the staff, the students, kind of how they live, definitely is a great opportunity in helping determine whether it comes to the school or not. Also, if you can't make it to the school, you can call the Dean of Students office or admissions. We have a great staff who would be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. But yeah, I think if try your best to come and see the school. It's beautiful. Boston is a beautiful city. There's so much to do if you're not on campus. You can go to Copley Square, you can go to Newberry Street. There's so much.
As I like to tell parents, there's a lot of places in Boston that will happily take your money. So the Dean of Students office to reach out to us, and students answer the phones and can answer any questions from parents or new students, is 617-353-4126. The website is bu.edu/DOS, and the email address is DOS for Dean of Students, DOS@bu.edu. And Kenneth, you mentioned the Admissions Reception Center, bu.edu/admissions is another great landing point for students who are still concerned about some maybe academic questions or even student life questions. So, final word of advice?
Boston is great, especially...
That's coming from a New Yorker.
Yeah, I was going to say, between that New York City and Boston rivalry, I would say Boston is a great city. I do not regret coming. I love it here. It's great.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yep.
And thanks for tuning in.